The tension between China and Taiwan is one of the most delicate geopolitical issues in the world today. China has long claimed Taiwan as part of its territory, while Taiwan operates as a separate democratic government with its own economy and military. While the possibility of a Chinese invasion has loomed over the region for decades, the question remains, why hasn't China invaded Taiwan yet? Despite China's growing military might and its persistent calls for reunification, there are several key reasons why an invasion is far from straightforward. First, let's consider geography. Taiwan is an island, separated from mainland China by the Taiwan Strait, which is about 100 miles, 160 kilometers, wide. Crossing this body of water with a massive military force would be a daunting challenge for any nation, even one with the resources of China. The logistical difficulties of transporting hundreds of thousands of troops, tanks, and heavy equipment across open water are immense. Amphibious landings are notoriously difficult military operations, requiring not only a large fleet of ships but also air and naval superiority to ensure that landing forces aren't destroyed before they even reach the shore. Historically, amphibious assaults, like the D-Day invasion of Normandy, are among the riskiest and bloodiest types of military operations. Taiwan's terrain also poses significant obstacles. The island is heavily fortified, with natural defenses that favor the defender. Taiwan's rugged mountains and dense forests provide excellent cover for defending forces, making it difficult for an invading army to advance. On top of that, Taiwan has spent decades preparing for the possibility of a Chinese invasion. The island has a sophisticated defense network, including missile systems, air defenses, and well-trained armed forces. Taiwan's military strategy is based on asymmetric warfare, which focuses on using smaller, more mobile units and high-tech weapons to inflict heavy damage on a larger invading force. In short, China would face a well-prepared and highly motivated defense force in any attempt to invade Taiwan. China's military would also face serious challenges in achieving air and naval superiority over Taiwan. Although the Chinese military has grown rapidly in recent years, with an emphasis on modernizing its navy and air force, controlling the skies and seas around Taiwan would be crucial for any invasion. The People's Liberation Army, PLA, would need to establish air superiority to protect its invading forces from Taiwanese air defenses, which are among the most advanced in the region. Taiwan's air force, equipped with U.S.-supplied fighter jets like the F-16, is well-trained and capable of defending its airspace. Meanwhile, Taiwan's navy, though much smaller than China's, is equipped with modern anti-ship missiles and submarines that could pose a serious threat to Chinese warships attempting to cross the Taiwan Strait. One of the biggest hurdles China faces in any potential invasion of Taiwan is the involvement of the United States. While the U.S. does not officially recognize Taiwan as a separate country, it has a long-standing policy of supporting Taiwan's defense. Under the Taiwan Relations Act, the U.S. is committed to providing Taiwan with the means to defend itself, and it maintains a policy of strategic ambiguity, meaning that while it hasn't explicitly promised to defend Taiwan in the event of an invasion, it hasn't ruled it out either. The U.S. regularly conducts military exercises with Taiwan and maintains a significant military presence in the Pacific region, including in Japan, South Korea, and Guam. China is well aware that an invasion of Taiwan could lead to a direct military confrontation with the United States, something Beijing is keen to avoid. The U.S. Navy's Pacific Fleet is one of the most powerful naval forces in the world, and its aircraft carriers, submarines, and long-range bombers could be deployed to defend Taiwan. Any conflict between China and the U.S. would have devastating consequences, not just for the region but for the entire world, as it could easily escalate into a full-scale war between two nuclear-armed superpowers. There's also the issue of Taiwan's strategic partnerships beyond the U.S. Japan, for example, has made it clear that it views the security of Taiwan as directly linked to its own national security. Given Taiwan's proximity to Japan's Okinawa Islands, a Chinese invasion would pose a direct threat to Japanese territory. Japan's military, though officially restricted to self-defense, is one of the most advanced in the world and could potentially become involved in any conflict over Taiwan. Australia, another key U.S. ally in the region, has also expressed support for Taiwan's defense, further complicating China's calculations. Beyond the military challenges, China must also consider the economic and diplomatic fallout of an invasion. Taiwan is a key player in the global economy, particularly in the semiconductor industry. Taiwan's semiconductor manufacturers, such as TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, produce the most advanced microchips in the world, which are critical to a wide range of industries, from smartphones to cars to military technology. Any disruption to Taiwan's economy would have far-reaching consequences for the global supply chain, and the world's reliance on Taiwanese semiconductors means that many countries, particularly in the West, have a vested interest in ensuring Taiwan's stability. An invasion of Taiwan would likely lead to severe economic sanctions against China, not just from the US, but from the entire international community. China's economy, while robust, is heavily dependent on international trade, and any conflict that disrupts its trade relations with major partners like the US, Japan, and the European Union would be devastating. Sanctions targeting Chinese exports, banking systems, and energy supplies could cripple China's economy and lead to widespread instability at home. China's leadership is acutely aware of these risks and would have to weigh the economic costs of an invasion against its political and military objectives. Finally, there's the question of public opinion, both within China and abroad. Chinese leaders have long promoted the idea of peaceful reunification with Taiwan, and while the Chinese government has not ruled out the use of force, it is also aware that a military invasion would be unpopular internationally. The international community would likely condemn such an invasion, and China would risk becoming a global pariah, with its international standing severely damaged. At home, while nationalism and support for the reunification of Taiwan are strong among the Chinese public, the economic and human costs of a prolonged war could lead to unrest and dissatisfaction with the Chinese Communist Party's leadership. In conclusion, while China has the military power to pose a serious threat to Taiwan, invading the island is a far more complex and risky endeavor than it might seem at first glance. Geography, Taiwan's defenses, U.S. involvement, the potential for international conflict, economic consequences, and diplomatic fallout all act as major deterrents. China's leadership may continue to pursue reunification with Taiwan, but the costs and risks associated with an invasion mean that, for now, the status quo is likely to persist.